Union representatives met in Newcastle today to discuss two important matters facing the future of the New South Wales coal industry. They are the serving of a new log of claims on colliery proprietors and talks of amalgamation between the Miners' Federation and the Federated Mine Mechanics, which would bring together more than half the people employed in the New South Wales coal mining industry. We'll have full details in the NBN Hour of News tonight at 6.
Details of the $17,000 sponsorship for a limited over knockout competition for New South Wales country cricketers were announced in Newcastle today. The competition will be called the St George Building Society Country Cup and is aimed at giving country cricketers more chance of making representative level. 8 country zones will compete starting later this month, with the Newcastle side making its first appearance on December the 15th in the quarter-finals when they meet Northwest at the sports ground. Appropriately, at today's announcement, former local Australian Test players Gary Gilmore and Rick McCosker were present. McCosker says he's hoping to play for Newcastle in the competition. Newcastle District Cricket Association Secretary Dennis Broad applauded the announcement.
As far as the Newcastle cricketers go, it's vitally important in the development for the country cricketer as well as the Newcastle cricketer. It means that they can play in representative games at no cost, which is a big thing in all sport these days, and it gives them a chance to make the Australian country team, which this year travels to Riverland, South Australia. And also, as far as their own development goes, there will be talent scouts here from Sydney, and the New South Wales selectors will be there to look at games, and there's the opportunity for them to impress and further their careers that way.
Thank you.
Patrons and supporters of the Merewether Surf Club gathered on the beach for the launch of the club's new surf machine. The boat's construction by Central Coast craftsman Ray Burton was sponsored by Waratah Engineering to the tune of $9,000. After the unveiling, the boat was officially christened by Anne Julius, the wife of the sponsor managing director. The new boat will join the club's 3 others, and the 5-man crew have their sights set for future surfboat competitions, including the Australian titles next year and the world title set for 1987. As crewman Bob March explains, the revolutionary design of the boat has come a long way from its former role in surf rescue.
The big revolutionary design in the boat is, of course, that with the modern use of fiberglass and foam sandwich, the weight of the boat has changed a lot. But as you can see by the boat, the rigging setups for the rowers have been a big improvement. Also the use of aluminium oars for the first time. We are actually the first boat in Australia to use them.
The man who's emerged as the leader of the rank-and-file movement, Bill Priest, was in Newcastle today to lobby support amongst union members. He'll stand for one of the union's top positions in New South Wales, branch secretary. Ironically, the man he's against, Ernie Ecob, is the man who also sacked him after 4.5 years as a union organiser in January. The AWU has a diverse coverage of industries, ranging from rural to construction to processing and landscaping. In Newcastle, the union has come under fire recently for its bans on the construction of new grain silos at Carrington. According to Bill Preece, this is another situation that has led to rising discontent in the union.
Well, there's been a growing discontent within the union amongst members for lack of proper handling of disputes, lack of attention to the members' welfare for many years, and really those members have only needed some sort of way of expressing that because we are now challenging, the rank and file team of candidates are challenging the incumbent officers. Members have that opportunity now to voice their opinion.
So has this discontent been evident during your visit in Newcastle?
Certainly. It's without putting too fine a point on it, there's not a great deal of confidence in the AWU in Newcastle as I perceive it at the moment, and we hope to be able to change that, of course.
So would you say that
Hungerford Hill has released the merchant range as part of a rationalisation scheme. The 4 wines, a white and a red from the Hunter Valley and 2 from Coonawarra, are all gold medal winners. They will now be sold through restaurants and retail bottle shops. Hungerford Hill's more specialised lines have been restricted to the cellars.
We felt that it was time for us to rationalise our range. So as a result of this, we decided we would rationalise rather than the retailer rationalising us. And what happens? This overcomes the confusion in the marketplace.
Dr. Bailey is in Australia as a guest of the Australian Sports Medicine Foundation. He told the audience that humans are built to move and said that any restrictions to movement will cause physical and psychological problems. In Canada, many school-aged children watch 30 hours of television a week. And Dr. Bailey said this has led to many of them becoming obese at an early age. Dr. Bailey told me that it is the responsibility of parents and schools to teach children to respect their bodies.
Well, I think the ultimate responsibility is a parental one, but also I think communities, and I think certainly the educational system has a responsibility for what happens to youngsters. I think health is an important concern for everyone. So it's a parental one, an educational one, and a community one.
Are Western children fit enough?
No, I wouldn't say. I would say that they're not nearly as fit as they could be with an increase in their level of physical activity. There are a lot of very sedentary children. This is reflected by a number of factors, but for instance, television watching time, the number of children that are overweight. We have all sorts of evidence to support the fact that a lot of children could be doing more. And the real reason for concern is there's mounting evidence that what happens during the growing years may have some implications in terms of adult health problems.
The meeting at the Workers' Club was organised by Wallaroo, a coalition of residents, oyster farmers and ecologists from the area around Karua, Nadawi and Swan Bay. Key speaker was Elizabeth Kirkby, Australian Democrat MLC in New South Wales, who has taken up the fight against the proposed site for the toxic waste dump. She told the audience that the protest group's submission against the dump to the state government has received little attention in Sydney. She said the Minister for Planning and Environment, Bob Carr, must come to inspect the site himself. I asked her whether she believes the state government has the best interests of the residents at heart.
I think that this is one of the problems that the state government has hoped would go away if they waited for long enough. I think they did not believe that the public concern was as great as it has proved to be, and as long as there was no apparent public concern, it was easy for them to put it in the too hard basket. It isn't easy for them to do that now.
Do you believe that they're trying to make life easy for the Tomago smelter?
Oh yes, I'm quite sure of that. I mean, the whole of the history of smelters in the Lower Hunter has been to attract smelters here. Originally, the government wanted 3 smelters here. They wanted the Lochinvar smelter as well. And the downturn in the need for aluminium on a worldwide basis was one of the reasons why the Lochinvar smelter didn't go ahead. I'm perfectly certain the state government would be most disturbed if they thought there was going to be any danger of the Tomago smelter closing, and therefore they are likely to make provision for them in the way that they think is proper.
Songs like Ventura Highway, I Need You and You Can Do Magic have allowed the pop group America to reach #1 on the charts for the past 15 years. Jerry Bunkley and Dewey Bunnell joined forces in 1970 as school friends. Since then, the group has made 15 albums and toured the States, Europe, the Far East and Africa. It's their 3rd trip to Australia and their 2nd to Newcastle. At a time when so many bands come and go, songwriter and singer Jerry Beckley attributes America's success to a solid friendship.
Well, I think basically a great deal of luck, because it's a very hard thing to get everything swinging in the right direction. But in addition to that, I think maybe because we did meet and establish a friendship before we became members of a group, that the friendship was always a very important thing. And we've always tried very hard to maintain that and have the music be as a result of that friendship, other than the other way around.
Has the style of America's music changed over the years?
Well, I think in that we have continued to write for 15 years. Hopefully the writing has developed in one way or another. You can't continue to write like a 16 or an 18-year-old all your life, and the more you observe, the more you convey in your songs. But the style itself has only changed as an evolutionary thing. I think if you go album to album, you won't notice a great difference, but if you skipped about 4 albums, 5 albums, you'd hear something.
The Minister for Ports, Mr Laurie Brereton, today announced the formation of the Port of Newcastle Advisory Board, which he says will give Newcastle a certain degree of autonomy. The 7-man board, which is made up of union and business leaders, will advise the Maritime Services Board on issues affecting the city. I'm Janelle Provost. We'll have details on that and more stories tonight on NBN News at 6. One enterprise that the Minister mentioned in glowing terms during his address to the Newcastle Chamber of Commerce was the Port Waratah Coal Service, which recently cocked up 100 million tonnes of coal handled since it began operations 9 years ago. The work of the Port Waratah coal loader has greatly contributed to the 37% increase in coal exports through Newcastle in the past 5 years, according to the Minister. The tonnage of coal handled by Newcastle loaders this year was 24.6 million tonnes, compared to 20.7 last year, but it still has a long way to go before it reaches the handling capacity of 30 million tonnes.
None of these dramatic improvements in business through the Port of Newcastle happen by accident. They follow years of major investment in the port's activities and facilities. The investment improvements, some $700 million in total by both government and the private sector. The $100 million harbour deepening project has allowed larger ships to use the port. And last financial year, there was ample evidence that the bigger ships were becoming regular visitors, with single coal shipments of above 120,000 tonnes being quite commonplace.
Mr Brereton also took the opportunity to announce the appointments for the newly formed Port of Newcastle Advisory Board. Mr Brereton says he wants Newcastle to attain a certain degree of autonomy, but policy and major decisions will still be made in Sydney. He says the 7-man Newcastle-based board will provide a direct link to the Maritime Services Board in Sydney. Chaired by BHP General Manager Jack Wisby, the board is expected to liaise with customers. But as union representative on the board Peter Barrick explains, it still hasn't been given its guidelines.
Do you think the board will have any teeth?
I think we'll find that out in the course of its operations. Certainly the composition of the board reflects within the government decision that they're looking for a group of people who have a responsibility within the port and a group of people who have the capacity to make decisions or recommendations to the government that are really going to influence the future operations of this port.
With the weather fine and breezy, the favoured number 2, Deeds Star, led the pre-race parade. Early favourite number 1, Royal Grit, had been scratched. Deeds Star started at 13-4, as did number 4, Best Half. Ace It Up started at 4-1 to complete the 3 most fancied starters in the big race. At 3:20, the much-awaited $10,000 Perrier Grand Prix over 1,600 metres was underway before a comfortable crowd. We pick up the race as they come out of the turn and head for home.
Down the outside, Deed Star Jogger going to the inside, and then Gypsy Reward at the 300. Clever Fiddle joined by Best Half on the outside. Third is Jogger, followed by Cord Region, and down the outside, Deed Star. It's Best Half, Jogger coming away to fight it out. On the outside was Deed Star, but Jogger's hit the lead from Best Half, coming back again. But in front, Jogger near the line, and Jogger's going to be too good.
In a close finish, a half neck by 2.5 lengths, it was number 10, Jogger, that took the money, starting at a respectable 7-1. Jogger paid $3.35 for the win and 90 cents the place. Second spot to number 4, Best Half, paying 80 cents, with third number 2, Deeds Star, returning 75 cents. Jockey Craig McCarthy was congratulated by Connections for riding a well-judged race on the winner. A trophy to part owner Gene Dunphy, and a word from the other part owner and trainer Sid Brown of Warwick Farm. Sid was delighted Jogger had performed so well, considering the problems he had had with the horse just previously.
The biggest thrill I got to know that the horse had made a complete recovery after his very, very severe illness in Brisbane when I took him up for the Winter Carnival in May. Unfortunately, he got a bad virus and then he got the scours, and in fact we thought he was going to die. So it was wonderful to see him come back and race as well as he ever raced.
Clear skies still holding out, today's main draw event began with 32 players in both the men's and women's division. The tournament has gathered nearly 200 competitors from more than 12 countries, including Mexico, Denmark and the United Kingdom. Featured in the men's division is Newcastle's own Peter Doohan, winner of last year's Davis Cup Tennis Satellite event and South Australian Grand Prix Open. The men's event is part of the Australian Davis Cup Tennis circuit, while the women's tournament is the second of 3 events making up the Lawn Tennis Association of Australia's Women's Satellite. New South Wales tennis coach and circuit director Terry Rockefort says that the standard for Sunday's finals in both the singles and doubles events will be high.
Well, I think you can see for yourself, anybody that comes to watch the tennis this week will see that the standard of tennis in a satellite circuit is very high. When I say it's the lowest rung of professional tennis, it doesn't mean that the standard is poor. The standard's actually very high, and players gain computer points by playing in these circuits, and then they move on to play it in Grand Prix events such as Wimbledon.
This property at Warners Bay is the site today for a 4-wheel drive demonstration. The host of the program is Captain Mark Phillips. I'm Helen Hughes and I'll be the captain's passenger on the circuit in NBN's Hour of News tonight at 6.
If you're a young female looking for a career in a specialised trade, then be watching tonight's news. I'm Melinda Smith, and today we caught up with a group of girls doing traditionally what the boys have done. More details tonight at 6.
A new wool brokerage firm has opened up in the city, and it hopes to make the Port of Newcastle a wool port. But it says a lot of pressure will have to be applied on the wool buyers and the shipping companies. I'm Janelle Provost. We'll have details on that story and more tonight on NBN News at 6.